Young Leo had always felt the world deeply, but since his beloved mother's passing, the vibrant colors of his life seemed permanently muted. A profound sadness settled within him, a constant ache that made laughter feel foreign and sunlight too harsh. He retreated into the quiet corners of his room, finding the familiar shadows more comforting than the bustling, bright world outside his window. The memory of his mother's smile, her warm embrace, and the stories she whispered at bedtime were treasures locked in his heart. But now they brought only tears. He felt utterly alone, adrift on a vast ocean of grief where even the sight of other children playing felt like a reminder of a joy he could no longer reach. His father, burdened by his own sorrow, struggled to find the words to bridge the growing chasm between them. One gray afternoon, consumed by his loneliness, Leo discovered something strange when he focused intently on the gathering dusk outside. Willing the shadows closer, they seemed to respond, thickening and swirling near his fingertips. A spark, faint but real, ignited within his despair. Night after night, he practiced in the quiet of his room, concentrating with all his might. Slowly, painstakingly, he learned to coax the darkness itself, gathering strands of twilight and weaving them together. His purpose was singular: to build a barrier. Starting from the corners of his room, he began constructing a wall, not of brick or wood, but of pure, palpable shadow. He poured his sadness, his fear of further hurt, and his longing for his mother into every dark thread he pulled from the air, willing the wall to grow taller, denser, more impenetrable. As the weeks turned into months, Leo's wall of shadows rose steadily, eventually sealing his window completely and creeping along the walls towards his door. It became a living entity, cool to the touch yet strangely humming with the energy of his concentrated sorrow. Inside this self-made fortress, Leo felt a peculiar, fragile safety. The harsh sounds of the outside world were muffled. The sight of happy families walking by was mercifully obscured, yet the wall demanded constant attention. Maintaining its form consumed his thoughts and energy, leaving him perpetually weary. The vibrant boy who once loved climbing trees and chasing butterflies vanished, replaced by a pale, quiet figure forever tending his monument to grief. Trapped within the very darkness he had summoned for comfort, sunlight became a distant memory, replaced by the perpetual, cool gloom of his creation beyond the shadowy barrier. Life continued. His father knocked softly, his voice thick with worry, pleading for Leo to open the door, to come out for just a meal, a walk, anything. Leo remained silent, hidden behind his wall. Friends came calling, their cheerful voices echoing strangely against the dark surface, but their invitations to play fell on deaf ears. One person, however, refused to be entirely deterred. Alara, a kind-hearted girl who lived next door and remembered Leo's bright spirit, began visiting his garden wall each evening. She didn't shout or demand. Instead, she sat quietly on the grass, just outside the reach of his shadows, and simply talked. She spoke about ordinary things: the stubborn squirrel stealing birdseed, the funny shape of a cloud, the new flowers blooming by the fence. Night after night, her gentle, persistent voice was a soft murmur against the silence Leo had cultivated. One evening, as Alara described the breathtaking beauty of the sunset, painting the sky in fiery oranges and deep purples, Leo could no longer see. Something unexpected happened. A small, almost imperceptible sigh escaped Leo, a sound laden with longing for the colors Alara described. As if responding to this tiny crack in his resolve, a faint shiver ran through the wall of shadows directly facing where Alara sat. A hairline fracture, thin as a spider's thread, appeared in the dense darkness. A single, pure beam of the fading evening light pierced through the gloom, striking the floorboards near Leo's feet. He stared at it, mesmerized by its warmth and golden hue, a forgotten sensation flooding his senses. It was a tiny breach, but it felt monumental, a silent gasp from the heart of his fortress. The sight of that single sunbeam stirred something deep within Leo, a yearning he had buried under layers of shadow. Over the following days, he found himself drawn to the crack. He didn't try to mend it. Instead, cautiously, he He began to listen more intently to Alara's voice drifting through the tiny opening. He heard the concern in her words, the unwavering patience, the simple kindness offered without expectation. The wall still stood, vast and imposing, but the tiny stream of light and Elarayuro's unwavering presence created a fragile bridge back to the world. He started whispering hesitant replies through the fissure, his voice rusty from disuse, sharing small fragments of his sadness. Like offering pebbles across a great divide, Alara received each word with quiet understanding. Her responses a steady anchor. One afternoon, while searching for an old sketchbook tucked away in a drawer, Leo discovered an envelope he hadn't noticed before. Tucked beneath a stack of drawings, his name was written on it in his Mothra unmistakable, flowing script. His heart hammered against his ribs as he carefully opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "My dearest Leo," it began, and tears welled instantly. "If you're reading this, it means I had to leave before we were ready. Oh, how I wish I could hold you one more time. Please don't build walls around your beautiful heart. My brave boy, feel your sadness. It's part of loving deeply, but remember the sunshine, the laughter, the feeling of grass under your feet. Live those joys for me. Let others see the wonderful light inside you. I love you forever. To the moon and the stars and back again." Mama, her words, filled with love and foresight, washed over him like a warm, cleansing wave. The letter became a key, unlocking a chamber in his heart he'd sealed shut. Holding the precious paper, Leo walked slowly towards the towering wall of shadows. He placed his hand flat against its cool, dark surface, feeling the hum of his own grief embedded within it. He didn't command it to vanish instantly. Instead, he focused not on his pain, but on the warmth of his mother's love in the letter, the steady kindness in Alara's voice, the memory of his father's embrace. He thought of sunlight on his face, and the scent of damp earth after rain. As these feelings filled him, a profound shift occurred. The dark wall began to soften, not collapsing, but gently dissolving. Strands of shadow unwound like smoke, thinning and fading, retreating back into the corners of the room from whence they came. Golden afternoon light flooded in, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Leo stood blinking in the sudden brightness, the letter clutched tightly in his hand, feeling the warmth touch his skin for the first time in months. A tentative but powerful hope blooming where only shadows had dwelled. He took a deep, shuddering breath of the free air and walked towards the door, finally ready to face the world again, carrying his mother's love like a shield of light.